Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this week's Xbox Factor podcast. I'm your host, MrBooMStickXL, and with me doing his superhero act is the Italian Clowns taking up the co-host position for today. Clowns, welcome to the Xbox Factor podcast, where we talk about the Xbox in a positive manner, something that seems to be absent from the YouTube content creation community. Not everybody. I mean, there are a few exceptions, like the outstanding RDX, which I listened to this morning. Of course, that's run by Dealer Gaming, and those guys over there are fantastic. And of course, Randall Thor with Jez Gordon from Windows Central. They have the Xbox 2 podcast, which is another fan favorite of mine. But today we have an action-packed bunch of topics that I think every Xbox fan is going to be excited to talk about. So, Clowns, welcome to the show, dude.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Awesome intro, by the way. You do one of the best. I think the Iron Lords should hire you as a scriptwriter for their
Well, you know
intro.
what? Here's the thing. I actually learned from Cognito, by the way, who is Master Yoda when it comes to doing these intros. So I actually learned from him. Yeah, listen. I mean, before we actually get into the meat and potatoes, if you will, of the show. I started a Patreon back at the end of April, and the outpouring support from this ridiculously supportive community has not been I couldn't believe how many people came up and decided to join this Patreon. And so far I'm up to 20 members, which is unbelievable. So I just kind of want to give everybody the proper shout out they deserve for supporting myself, and of course the Double Barrel Gaming Channel Network here on YouTube. Alfonso Hogan, Josette Rivera, who everyone knows is my best friend and wife, Casket Repair, who just actually joined today, the only one left, Defunct Jester, Dave, Elemental P, Frederick Jackson, J-Force Games, Jim Jordan, Chaos Theory, Lethal Papa, Mark Devlin, Mental 9R Gamer, Ricardo Willis, Robert Olson, Scrub Nurse, Stubbs Gaming, Tempest, and Timothy Wood. So, of course, gentlemen, I just want to thank everybody for supporting this. But let's get right into the opening story, Clowns. In a story that has made news across social media, and a story you're only going to find on the Xbox Factor podcast, Killer Instinct has been making the rounds thanks to a super fan known as Maximilian. I would say it's Dodd. It's Dood. So I'm going to call it Maximilian Dodd just to make sure I don't want to butcher the poor guy's name. He is from Twitter. And of course, he has an amazing YouTube channel that I suggest everyone get over there and sub. Obviously, he's a megastar. He's up there with his subs. Let's just say that. Now, if you've been a subscriber to this channel for a while, you know that Killer Instinct, without a doubt, is my favorite fighting game of all time. And I believe, and I'm going to say this, and again, this is my personal opinion, I believe it's the best fighter this generation. And again, there may be people that disagree, and that's fine. But in my opinion, there has not been a fighter to come along, even the big ones like, the Soul Caliburs and the DOAs and Street Fighter V, for instance. I think Killer Instinct trumps those games tenfold over. But if you weren't aware, Killer Instinct has been around for 25 years, Clowns. That's right, 25 glorious years, starting its life in the arcades. And this is a very foreign concept to most gamers under the age of 25, Clowns, because, well, back in the days, the arcade scene was the mecca of social gathering. Something that has completely been removed in these last 20 years because of the power of the home consoles. Now, obviously, if you look at what the home consoles are doing now, Clowns, they're 10 times more powerful than what an arcade machine is. They could put out arcade quality graphics and play the same way a machine could do that. But I want to talk about the tweet that Maximilian put out there, and this really had some legs, Clowns. It's a simple tweet addressed to Microsoft, Phil Spencer, and Iron Galaxy. And here's what he had to say. Hi Phil Spencer. On my behalf, on behalf of myself and the Killer Instinct fans and community, we'd like to show you how much we love this game. Please, for the next Xbox, consider a new KI or bring KI Definitive Edition to the Switch. We are willing to support it. TY, and please retweet. And he put out a hashtag bring back KI. And clowns, this went viral. Let me just ask you, in your opinion, from someone that is an Xbox fan, do you think that that Killer Instinct has a place as an Xbox exclusive?
I do. I think absolutely. It's one of the golden games of Rare for me from the era of the arcade, and I remember it so well. One of the first times I played this game, Boom, I just want to say real quick, was when I was going down to Florida, south of the border. Me and a friend, we stopped there, and they had the arcade machine, and I fell in love with it. I mean, this is absolutely something that is a Microsoft thing, a Rare thing, and man, it is such a great game.
Yeah, it is. Let me just, I don't think a lot of people understand. First of all, if you didn't know, the video that Maximilian posted, as of I typed this up yesterday, had 240,000 views. Okay, that's unbelievable. Okay, and it was liked 21,000 times. There is a huge fan base for this franchise. And if you think about this for a second, the game launched on the Xbox One. It was probably one of the premier launch titles that people actually went out and bought the Xbox One to play. And it only launched with 6 playable fighters. And in the span of 4 years, clowns, and 2 different but awesome developers in Double Helix, which was purchased by Amazon, and then Iron Galaxy, another fighting game, developer, took over. In 4 years, the roster ballooned to nearly 30 playable characters. And what's crazy is the guest fighters that they've had are tremendous. You have Rash from Battletoads, General Ram, of course, from Gears of War, and the Arbiter from Halo. I mean, come on. Having these guest characters, considering the roster of IPs that Microsoft has, you could only imagine that if they decided to go full-fledged into a new KI or a proper Killer Instinct 2, they could invite pretty much anyone. The same way Mortal Kombat and NetherRealm Studios has all these guest fighters. I mean, it's probably, besides the game being fantastic, in any Mortal Kombat, more specifically Mortal Kombat 11, their guest characters are usually the highlights of the fighting game. But here's the thing, clowns, this is a hot topic and has been obviously trending on social media. And Maximilian's push for a proper Killer Instinct 2 is something that needs to be talked about, not just by this show, but by other gaming shows who have a history with this game. Listen, how many games do you know have a lifespan of 20 plus years? Not a lot. I mean, they're sure that we can name Mario, Zelda, we can name all the Nintendo ones. But when you start moving on to PlayStation, start moving on to Xbox, they're really not a lot. So the fact that this still has legs after all of these years says that there's a fan base willing to support it. So here is my theory, and I want to get your opinion, and of course I want to get the chat's opinion on this. Obviously Killer Instinct 1 was a huge success for the Xbox One launch. Here's my theory. Now, Phil Spencer knows, and we're going to get into that Phil Spencer interview, and a lot of people think that he's not listening. I beg to differ. I think Phil is a very smart man. Maybe I put him on too high of a pedestal for other people, but I'm entitled to my opinion. So that's where he's going to stay for me. Okay? But here's my theory, clowns. How amazing would it be? And would it be like the second coming if Killer Instinct 2, the proper Killer Instinct 2 was in fact a launch title being held back by Microsoft, because Iron Galaxy has been dead silent quiet. Microsoft quiet. Phil Spencer quiet. And everyone knows that Killer Instinct 2 has a place. Could you imagine if you get a proper Killer Instinct 2 with powered by the Xbox Scarlet, along with a new Halo, a new Forza, and possibly the new Ninja Theory? I say drop the mic and walk the F out. So what do you think? What are your thoughts on a new Killer Instinct possibly coming to the next Xbox?
I mean, I think from a fan standpoint like us, it makes perfect sense because Killer Instinct is such a Microsoft title at this point in IP, a rare title, and it did launch with the Xbox One. So, I mean, it makes perfect sense to bring the hype and the excitement back for people to come back to Xbox and be like, man, I can play Killer Instinct 2 now? This is great. And, Killer Instinct is such a great game. The guest characters, it just entices so many different, people that love fighting games. Bring them over as well. New people. Keep new people coming in, man.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Again, I don't want to get too much into this because this is a Killer Instinct topic. But, one of the points that Maximilian made, and I don't know, I'm just calling him by his first name because I don't want to butcher his last name. So it's Maximilian for me. If he happens to get a chance and listen to this show, I would be absolutely astounded and extremely honored, of course. But what Maximilian talks about, which I thought was a really great point, is that he has known personal people, because he was involved in the fighter community. He was involved in making the trailers for Killer Instinct. So he didn't develop the game per se, but he helped promote it. And that's something that you can never forget, right? He talked about people actually going out and buying an Xbox One because Killer Instinct was available. And that was the only place to play it. Now, obviously, you can play it in other places now, and as we know, Microsoft is moving into moving where their first-party games are going to be also on PC. And look, this, in my opinion, besides the power of whatever Scarlet is going to turn out to be, and it's going to be an effing monster. We know that for a fact. It would be really awesome to have 4 massive premier games as your launch titles, more specifically Killer Instinct 2 being one of those. I think it would be a title that would move people to want to buy an Xbox, the next one. Now, obviously, if you have an X or you have a base model, you're going to be able to. I don't know if you're going to be able to play it. I would assuming that you would be, because Microsoft, this is something that's going to go across the board. But with that said, clowns, do you think it's important to have a Killer Instinct 2? And do you think that it could actually sell more consoles?
Yeah, I do. Because there is a whole fighting community behind Killer Instinct. I love that title. And even if you're a hardcore gamer, you're not one of the ones who love it. There are tons of people out there that love Killer Instinct. And making that a launch title, Killer Instinct 2, man, that's huge for the fighting community. And I even think if they turn that into esports, it'd be bigger than Gears, man.
Yeah, I think that there's a place for it. Again, it's a classic franchise that has classic characters, that has room for growth, that has room because Microsoft's a massive amount of first-party IPs, even some that you haven't seen. Like, I would love to see a Joanna Dark make the roster. You know what I'm saying? And who's to say they can't team up? Now, there has been rumors. I don't necessarily know if this is going to transpire into something. But Ed Boon, obviously, you know who Ed Boon is. He reached out via social media on Twitter that he wanted to use the Thunder skin on I forgot the name of the wolf character that's coming out on Mortal Kombat. And of course, I believe the Killer Instinct developer said yes. So it would be pretty cool that if the Xbox version of Mortal Kombat 11 got the Thunder skin, which would be kind of dope. And like I said, I know that Ed Boon in the past has talked about making a Mortal Kombat versus Killer Instinct. I would love to see a Killer Instinct character make the Mortal Kombat roster as an exclusive to the Xbox. Obviously, that would be pretty amazing. But before we move on to the next topic, clowns, I just have to thank Sleepy Goblin with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, just wanted to let you know I appreciate the positivity, bro. And listen, first of all, thanks for always being here. I do greatly appreciate it. And the $5 generosity, I cannot thank you enough. That is really awesome of you. Listen, this is a different kind of show. I can be, and I've said this, and I'm going to talk about it probably more on Friday's Breakfast at Boom. There's a way to bring constructive criticism to the argument that Microsoft has not done everything that they can do for their diehard fans. And I would be the first one to say that I would agree with that statement. There's another way that has unfortunately made the trend of the content creation community, and that's the hashtag hate mongering. And I suppose that, maybe hate sells better than being a good guy. But if that in fact is the case, then I'll just stay where I am and I'll just be the good guy. I prefer being positive. I prefer the Xbox brand. I support all three, but I prefer playing on the Xbox, and that's not going to change. Now, unfortunately, clowns, we're going to have to wait a little while for a lot of these newer developers that are first party to bring out the games. And you know what? At this point, I'm okay with it. Now, a lot of people may not be, and I'm not going to challenge your opinion. You're entitled to it, but you're not going to get that kind of hate mongering on this show. So let's move on to the next topic, clowns. Halo Infinite's E3 2019 trailer had a secret audio tape that was discovered. It was actually a Cortana message that was discovered. And I sat 30 feet away from the screen at FanFest. I don't understand how the hell I missed this. And I'm going to tell you something. How it was found is pretty ingenious. There was someone on Twitter and I don't have his name here, and that's here it is. Okay, let me break this down. How he should be working for the government. This is like spy stuff. Okay, well, apparently it was in the trailer all along, but it was only recently discovered by Twitter user, and I'm gonna spell it out and I'm gonna say it. I believe it's Zypal. It's Zepyal. He decoded the QR code hidden in the game's trailer that led to this secret audio file, which can be heard on YouTube if you're interested. Now, I'll add it to the show notes if you want. It's only 40 seconds, but it's pretty interesting. So what I did is I broke down exactly what Cortana had to say. And let me see if I could find that over here. Okay, this is first of all, this was the description on Twitter. Zypal says, has this been found before? And he obviously adds a few people, and he says, this is how I got it. I took multiple screenshots of the red bars and put them together. Then he had to make the QR code to find this. Clowns, what do you think about this? Is this not an unbelievable fandomship?
Yeah, I think this is really cool stuff. First, big shout out to Microsoft for adding something cool like this into one of the trailers. I think that's a lot of fun. As you noticed in the past, Microsoft even has added some of their redemption codes in there too. So this is really cool stuff. But it's amazing that it took so long for this to be found, and really cool of a fan, Zypal, like you said, to go in there and look at this and take it apart and analyze it and then post that up there. That's really cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's pretty freaking ingenious that he was able to put this together, that he even had the forethought to think that there was something to get, there. I mean, like I said, I'm following the guy now on Twitter. I think everyone should get over there. If you're interested and you want to follow someone that I think has detective-like qualities unmatched to like someone like Batman, it's at XEPYAL. That's on Twitter. Again, it could be Zepal or Zypal. I'm not sure. But I just wondered, listen, the track is only 40 seconds long, but I actually broke it down. So if you didn't hear it already, this is exactly how it's written. And this is what Cortana says. It opens up with some, of course, classic Halo tunes, followed by somebody walking. Then you hear Cortana speak, and this is exactly what she had to say. This is part of me. I don't know why or how, but it's me. Now, this could be, I mean, this could be a part of the Cortana the AI that got separated from the one that went crazy. I don't know. I'm not actually sure. We're going to find out, obviously, next year when the amazing Halo Infinite launches as a launch title for the next Xbox, which is pretty dope. But again, I want to give before I get your positioning on this epic Easter egg. Of course, I want to say it, and you've already said, a big shout out to Zypal for finding this, but more importantly for sharing it with the community. I think that is really that sometimes these things go unnoticed, and to find something like this and then to share it, I thought was really awesome of that poster. But Clowns, for you personally, do little things like this and obviously it's starting to make national news. I'm starting to see some of the small. I'm starting to see like the comicbook.coms and Game Rants and a few other sites pick it up. So obviously it's making media headlines, which is pretty good. Do you think that little things like this help build the hype for the next Halo?
Yeah, I think so. This is great positive marketing. It's ingenious, and fans love this kind of stuff. And I was going back to him, and I was looking at his tweets, right? And the fact that he actually like clipped this and pieced it together piece by piece to form this QR code, that's amazing, man. Like, how many people would sit there, analyze it, go line by line,
and then make your own QR code? It's crazy.
It is. Yeah, this guy is awesome. I followed him, by the way, Boom. He is a cool dude.
Yes, absolutely. So get out there, give this guy a follow. Again, it's not breaking news or anything, but I thought it was pretty cool to to talk about, just as a smaller topic. And obviously, now I know that there are people in the chat and there have been people at the test stream that we did were asking about our opinions about the Phil Spencer Fortune magazine article. The reason why that's being saved to the end, because that's going to be a real meaty one. That's probably going to be about 40, maybe 45 minutes of the show. So I want to just knock out some of the smaller ones, and I want to move to the next one. I did a video yesterday on this, and my God, Clowns, Games with Gold is a real winner for the month of August 2019. Now, obviously, listen, we know that Games with Gold in the past few months have been the running joke, right? It hasn't been good. The games have been subpar, depending on who you ask. I mean, I'm not in the camp where you say, well, it's free, you shouldn't ask for better. Wrong. We're still paying for the service, so you obviously want quality games in there. And I think Microsoft responded in a major way. Now, I don't know where this came from. I mean, the gear. Okay, well, let's break down. First of all, before we get to our opinions, let's break down what they are. If you don't already know, and again, this has been all over the place, but this is a smaller topic, and I think people may or may not know about it. You're getting Gears of War 4. Now, obviously, it's in Game Pass. Most people have played it, but there are a bunch of people that may not have played it, and this is great timing, Clowns. We're 5 weeks away from Gears 5, which is going to be a masterpiece, and I think it's going to already be in most people you talk to, based on what we saw on the trailers, all the multiplayer modes. It's probably going to be in that Game of the Year talk for 2019. There's no doubt. But this is a great placement. It's available August 1st to the 31st. And then another big hitter, Forza Motorsport 6. Arguably one of the best in that series. And it's 450 plus cars. Everyone, I mean, come on, it's Forza. Forza, it basically has dictated the way that the driving games go. They are the top tier. As a matter of fact, they're so good that no one even talks about Gran Turismo anymore because they're that good. So getting this in there, that's a big deal. That's available from August 16th through September 15th. And then the 360 games, really fantastic picks. Torchlight, if you've never played it, is a top-down Diablo style kind of a game. Great graphics, great RPG mechanics. And Torchlight 2 is coming out to console soon. So this is another, perfectly put pick to get people interested in possibly getting the second one. That's available August 1st through the 15th. And then the last, and certainly not least, it's going to be Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Now, if you've never played this, it's a, I don't want to say it's a reboot, but it's in my opinion a classic Castlevania game that if you've never experienced it, this is a great opportunity for you to play this game. It's freaking tastic. That's available August 16th through the 31st. What are your opinions on this outstanding roster of games, clowns?
Okay, first of all, Boom, I agree with you. I think it's outstanding for fans. Now, you know, I'm not to be a Debbie Downer here. For myself, I was just a little disappointed because Gears of War 4 is in Game Pass, and I felt like Forza 6 should have been in there. But outside of my own personal viewpoints, I think that this is excellent for Xbox fans, and this is amazing for marketing hype because Gears 5 is right around the corner, and it makes sense to throw Gears of War 4 in there to hype it up. Perfect sense. Because like you said, there are people that don't have Game Pass, and there may be people that haven't gotten into the Gears series, but now they can go ahead, check out this game, and get ready for Gears 5. So it's a very smart move by Microsoft. And to put Forza 6 in there is I mean, astounding because it wasn't in Game Pass. And it's been
a point.
And you know, it still has like a decent price tag on it. So to give that away for free, excellent fan service from Microsoft. Torchlight for 360, like you said, that is a fan favorite top-down Diablo style game. Mechanics are great, so it's awesome that they threw that in there. And what I'm really excited for out of all this is the Castlevania game. I've never played that one,
dude. That's so good. My God, it's so good.
And I'm really excited that they're starting to put that kind of stuff in there. That does make me hyped for this Games with Gold because I've been going back and adding to my 360 library. But this Games with Gold for 360 is fantastic. It is amazing. Such great fan service. So they are doing something right over there in Redmond.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is one of those months. I said this in my video. I said it on Twitter. Games with Gold's been going on for quite some time. This might be the best month in the inception of the program. Now, if some people may disagree, but these are all heavy hitters. These are all games that have legs. Now, again, unfortunately, for a guy like myself who has 900 Xbox games, I own all of them, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it because other people who are not like Boom, who don't have 900 games, may not own 1, 2, 3, all 4 of them for that matter. And you're going to get an opportunity for simply being a Games with Gold member. You're going to get the ability to play games that you might have missed. And that excites me as a fan. That just excites me as a gamer. Now, again, maybe people might find that to be lame, but I like seeing other people win. Again, that's part of my good guy mantra that I carry around. And that's fine.
That's a great way to look at it because this is going to bring new people into these games. And that's always fantastic to, like, you know, expand the fan base, expand new customers, get more people excited for these franchises. So it's always a positive move. And it's good that people that don't have these games are going to be able to get them.
Yeah, I'm very excited for anyone that's going to be that hasn't played them. You're going to get an opportunity to play them now. Just make sure you download them. Even if you don't play them, just make sure that you get there and download them so they're yours, pretty much. But I want to move on to the next topic, clowns. You know, I'm a big fan of Clobriel, and if you don't know who this guy is and you're an Xbox fan, I say shame on you. Okay, he is considered an Xbox insider. Now he doesn't like to be called that, but he does bring some massive Xbox news, and he has always been like right on point. And you know, when he tweets some things, I like to include, especially when his tweets I find to be extremely relevant and they're telling a story. I like to talk about him on this show. A lot of people don't bring him up. I know Dealer's brought him up numerous times on his podcast, and I believe Rand has as well. But you know, the first tweet that I want to talk about that he said, and I want to kind of get people's opinions on this because I actually tweeted at him and he actually favored and liked it, which I thought was pretty cool. He writes, Xbox has such an incredible diverse pool of sleeping worlds, meaning games that have been put to pasture, so to speak, as that IPs that need to come back. That's basically what he means. For next gen or earlier, obviously, which would be great. Earlier is better. I would love to see see several of these IPs coming back, or brought back into the fray, new games. And he has listed, and some of them are like like, oh wow, no big deal there. He has Fable. Of course, we all want a new Fable. We know what's coming. I, of course, want to know who's making it. We think Playground Games is making it. I would love confirmation of that, but I'm willing to wait because I know it's going to be incredible. Banjo-Kazooie, you guys know, if you follow this channel, I'm an old school cat that loves 3D platformers, and Banjo-Kazooie has a place in 2019 or 2020. If you don't agree with me, I hear you, but I'm always going to be. I think that kind of audience is still here. It's still here. You see it on the Switch. It could live on the Xbox. Okay, he has Killer Instinct. Okay, we just talked about that. I mean, that's obviously. We didn't need to discuss it anymore. We need a new KI. He has Brutal Legend. Now, I don't know if anyone played Brutal Legend, but that's an amazing game. That obviously was by Double Fine Productions or Studios, that is now part of Microsoft. They just recently refiled a trademark for that, Clowns. So
ooh, that sounds exciting.
Yeah. So some people are suggesting that there could be a sequel. And if they're going to make a sequel, first I say this. Make an HD port of it and re-release it. I say hooray, because I will play that game again. It was amazing. And get everyone excited for it too, because obviously Tim Schafer is one of my favorite developers, and the guy's a genius. And I think that it's a different type of game, but a game that's, again, still has a place on current consoles. He has Crimson Skies, an OG Xbox, one of my personal favorite games from that era. I have it. I've played it. It's backwards compatible. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you could probably pick it up for like $5. Crimson Skies is an amazing flight combat game. Of course, he has Mech Assault, another game that deserves a reboot of sorts. Now, we've heard rumors that they are working on it, but we don't know who's doing it. It would be very interesting to see that. And then he has here Project Gotham Racing within Forza. Oh my God. How amazing would that be? I don't know if everyone played Project Gotham or even know what the hell I'm talking about. Project Gotham Racing was an incredible exclusive for the Xbox, and to see that come back in any fashion or form in a Forza Horizon, maybe 5, would be amazing. Clowns, I see some people talking about different games. Antonio in the chat says Jet Set Radio. Come on, that's a classic game. Would love to see a reboot of that franchise. What do you think of his list, and do you think that what he's saying has relevance?
I think it does. I think, Xbox knows that these are IPs that they have in their vault, their golden vault. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some of these remakes come about, reboots, remasters, newer versions redone, maybe like a God of War, the way they redid God of War. I could see that happening with some of these titles. And Fable, I think we're all expecting a Fable reboot at some point. Banjo-Kazooie as well. Killer Instinct, we all suspect that maybe they're coming with the next Xbox. Brutal Legend, I'm really shocked that's in there because that's such a classic title. And Jack Black was in that, so that's kind of...
He certainly was.
That is really cool that that's in there. And for Club Roll to go ahead and put these out there, I think he might know something, Boom.
Listen, he doesn't like to be considered an insider, but that dude has an inside track. He don't talk out the side of his neck. I'm sure people have heard that slang before. I'm going to say this: every one of these incredible IPs, in my opinion, of course, deserves sequels. And because of the staggering amount of first-party studios under the Xbox Game Studios belt, it doesn't seem so far-fetched that you couldn't give some of these older IPs to some of these newer developers and make new games. Like I said, I know that there's been a lot of talk. Well, wait a second, Boom. They haven't shipped a new IP in X amount of years. I want a new IP. And guess what? I'm right there with you, and we're going to get it. We're going to get new IPs. Obsidian's other RPG is going to be an exclusive to Microsoft and the PC. That's going to be a new IP. Whatever Playground Games is working on is going to be a new IP. Whatever the initiative with the talent they're pulling over there's going to be a new IP. So, folks, unfortunately, game development, it takes time. I personally don't want something rushed out to be called a piece of shit, pardon my French, because it was rushed out because we don't have patience to wait. There are tons of games to play. Now, again, I'm not defending Microsoft's actions. I'm saying that we want better, and I'm right there with you. But I think that denying or forgetting about what brought Microsoft to where they are today, meaning their older IPs that have been put to pasture or have not been touched in a long while, have no relevance, is not the way I personally think. And I think it takes away from what the Xbox is. They have amazing IPs that if the proper developer got a hold of them and was given the time, the development monies, and the support of Microsoft, they could be something special. Clowns, do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right. Well, listen, what I want to do is I want to talk about the second tweet that I found interesting. And I didn't know that. That's why I added it. Because normally I don't build a show around Clover has to say, but you know, when you're building these shows, sometimes there's Xbox news, and being this is an Xbox specific show, sometimes you gotta create these things, because I'm not gonna regurgitate what everyone else is doing, because then why tune into this show? That's my point. And you know, the second tweet that he did, I thought was just as important as the first one. And one of the things I personally enjoy about following Clobriel is the way that he looks beyond what's happening right now, Clowns, and you know, and what it means not only to the Xbox brand but the fan base. And you know, there's a lot to look forward to, regardless of what some of these other YouTubers are telling you. Here's what he had to say: the teams at the Xbox Game Studios are currently working on 40 unique game projects. This is an estimate that includes announced, unknown, as well as ongoing post-launch supported games. Now, I mean, when you say that, when you say the number 40, I'm not saying that there are 40 games, and he's not saying that there are 40 games in development that we don't know. I clearly explained what that is. But the fact that they're working on 40 projects currently, right now, 40 projects at the Xbox Game Studio brand, to me, this is a revelation to anyone that has doubts that Microsoft is sitting on their hands. Now, again, I'm going to say this for the last time on this show for today. I am not you know, greasing it up or trying to pad it, if you will, for Microsoft's shortcomings this generation. But I'm not going to regurgitate that. I'm not going to harp on that, and I'm not going to fearmonger that. We know what they've done, and we were not happy as fans. We know what they're going to do. We know what Phil Spencer has done since being promoted in 2017. I think it's pretty evident that pre-E3 2018, they had 6 studios. Post E3 2018, they doubled their studios. At XO 18, they added 2 more. And at E3 2019, they added another one. Currently, there's talk about getting another 3 to 4. Now, Clobriel posted this early in this year, the hashtag 20 in 2020, meaning that he thinks, or he hopes, that Microsoft could potentially have 20 first-party developers in 2020. Clowns. First of all, I want to get your opinion on this. The fact that there are 40 titles under development at Microsoft at Microsoft that have a wide range of double, single, and AAA titles. What does that say to you as a fan that might be on the fence saying, well, I think they're sitting on their hands?
I think that's huge. I think that, you know, when I'm looking at this tweet and what you posted for the notes, the 40 unique game projects, that's amazing. Like, I didn't even expect that many game projects to be in development right now. But this goes to tell you that Microsoft is opening their wallet. They're saying, let's get stuff done. You know, it's not to say that all of it might come out into fruition, but the fact that they're trying 40 unique game projects, that's amazing, dude. Like that's a lot of time, a lot of resources, a lot of money. That's a lot of stuff going on. That is fantastic for fans.
It certainly gets me excited to know. Again, like I said, I wasn't concerned. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Again, of course, would I like a AAA title every quarter? Well, they made an announcement earlier in the year, very early in the year, that in fact was going to happen with all of these first party studios. Now, I'm okay with you give me 2 or 3 AAA titles per year. You sprinkle in some double A's, you add a few triple A's. You have a winning lineup, in my opinion, and I really, I think that this generation, because okay, let me just kind of back this up. When you look at what others are doing, right? You look at what Sony has done with their first party. We want that kind of quality, and I mean, I'm speaking for everyone. Everyone in the chat, you and me, the people that are going to listen to this on the replay, we want that kind of quality games on the Xbox. No doubt about it. And we deserve it. We're paying customers, and we want the best games on the best system. And that's how I think the Xbox is. I think it's the best system. It is the most powerful system. Yes. Is there room for growth? Absolutely. Do they need to course correct a lot of the issues that have plagued them this entire generation? Without a doubt. No one's damage controlling that. But when you hear that they have 40 projects, when you hear all of this new talent coming, I mean, like the amount of Sony talent that has come over to work at Microsoft at the initiative, more specifically, is mind numbing. And if you can't, as an Xbox fan, get excited about that, I say check your freaking pulse, because you might be dead. There again, yes, there's a lot of unknowns, clowns. But when you hear this many games in the development, whether it be DLC for current games, unannounced titles, and projects that we know are coming, if you cannot get excited for that, then you know what? The brand is obviously not for you. And I say, go play on Sony and go play on Nintendo. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm not going to make an excuse for it. I want better. Phil's going to do it. Whether you agree with that, which we're going to get into the Phil Spencer interview and what he said in a second, that's up to you. But anything else you'd like to add before we move on to the next topic, clowns?
I just want to reiterate how important this is. 40 unique game projects. Think about that for a moment. Let that sink in. That tells you that starting next generation, Microsoft really wants to have a number of hitters out there. And, some of that might be AAA, like you said. Some of them might be some indie sprinkled in, maybe even some DLC or added content, whatever it is. But that is a lot to look forward to. Don't, minimize that number and think of it like one game, blah, blah, blah. Like all the clickbait might tell you, this is 40 unique game projects, people. This is amazing stuff.
Yeah. I mean, look, I see a lot of people in the chat, they have to prove themselves. I agree with you 100%. I have someone else, other Zinc in the chat, says that he's not a big fan of the Sony exclusives. I hear you. I hear what you're saying, dude. Guess what? I absolutely love the Sony exclusives. In fact, because I'm an old school gamer, some people would consider a selfish gamer. I enjoy these story-driven, single-player, narrative-focused, adult-themed games that Sony puts out there. But with that said, I play them, I beat them, and then I come back to my Xbox where I play everything else. Now, if you don't like them, I completely understand that. Now, I'm hoping that those types of experiences do come to the Xbox, and we know we're getting one from Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory's games, we know what they're like. Yes, they have a multiplayer hero shooter coming out. That's a small project, right? Obviously that in my opinion, that's going to be a big deal. Bleeding Edge, I think, is going to be it's going to surprise a lot of people. And I'm really excited for it, even though I'm not the multiplayer first kind of a dude. I like sitting in front of my couch and listening to the story and investing the time in that character. Some people don't like this. Again, this is a newer generation. Multiplayer is first and foremost. And again, I hear you. But like I said, regardless of, it's been said and beat to death, Microsoft is doing things to make sure that in the next generation, which starts next year, we're not going to have the same troubles. And if you're willing to wait, awesome. If you're not willing to wait, well, that's, of course, you're entitled to that, your opinion on that. But let's move on to the next topic. This is a bit of a smaller one. Again, I wanted to, put out all the smaller ones before we get into the meat and potatoes, if you will, of the Phil Spencer Fortune magazine interview. On the heels of Gears 5 releasing in just about 5 weeks, a new Gears 5 Xbox One controller has leaked. And, this is something that I've stated in the past I want to see more of. Now, I know, oh, my God, Boom, it's another controller. Wait, what's going on? This story I pulled from comicbook.com, and if you don't follow them, you should. I think I get a lot of my stories from them. Their writers are fantastic. They don't do any clickbait shit, and of course, because I'm a comic guy, it kills two birds with one stone. They put out, they picked up a tweet from a good friend of the show, someone that you might have seen on Twitter or in actually this chat. An Idle Sloth posted a picture on Twitter that was picked up by multiple gaming media outlets, clowns. And of course, like any leak, we have to take these things with a grain of salt because, it's the internet and people are inventive. But they showed pictures, 2 pictures, actually 3 pictures, I'm sorry, where they showed a Gears 5 controller. They showed the box. They showed the front of it. They showed the back of it. And then Idle Sloth posted a final picture of it out of the box, sitting on its stand. And it's a Gears 5 custom controller that's gray. It has the sticks and the triggers, I believe, are blue. But it's like a matte. It almost looks like a matte gray and white. I think the controller looks dope. I am freaking buying it. But I'm going to say this, clowns. Custom controllers and consoles is something that Microsoft has done in the past. It's something that I've personally loved and purchased. Now, I own every Gears of War custom controller. I had the Gears of War Xbox One, Xbox 360 back in the days. I had the Xbox One S custom console, and there are rumors. Now, I heard this on RDX. I believe that Tim Dog was talking about this. Now, this is what he was saying. He didn't confirm it, and I'm not confirming it either. But there are rumors that at Gamescom, which is on the 20th of August, okay, I believe just about 3 weeks away, there's going to be a big Gears presence there. They're going to show Horde off. Now, I'm still hoping and holding out that they're going to show at least a couple of minutes of the campaign due to public pressure. I want to see some of this campaign, okay? But there are rumors, clowns, that we could possibly get a custom Xbox One X Gears of War themed console. So when I heard this last night, I rewound it just to make sure that I wasn't hearing something, that I missed something. And he did say this. Now, again, he did not confirm it, and I'm not confirming it, but that would be amazing. That is the Microsoft that I know and love. That is the kind of coverage you want to give to a game as big as Gears. What is your opinion on the pictures that I sent you of the custom controller? And do you think there's any relevance to the possibility of a new Gears of War 5 themed console coming at Gamescom?
Well, I think it makes sense to do a custom Gears 5 console. The question is, will it be on the mass market, like in maybe a limited print edition, or is it going to be like a giveaway? Like sometimes they do, they make these fantastic consoles and then do 5 giveaways, and that's it.
I hope not. I hope there's again, I'm going to be honest. I dislike those contests, not because I didn't win, because if someone else won and you're a fan, I applaud you. That's great. But some of the custom consoles that they've done that are unique to like 1 or 2 in the world, they are so mint. They're so dope. They're so incredible that I would have purchased an Xbox One X multiple times to get these custom consoles. Gears, Halo, Those are two franchises that will get me to spend $500 on a new Xbox One X that I have one sitting 5 feet away from me. And I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping that's not the case, clowns.
Well, to go to look at these pictures, I just want to give you my opinion real quick. And I got to say that I think they do great fan service, Boom. I think this is excellent fan service that they're doing, because Gears 5 is definitely a hardcore fan title, and fans will be going crazy over these controllers. Is it for me? No. But I think it's a very positive thing that they're doing for people, because if they made a controller for one of my favorite games, I'd be out there buying it like I did with the Sea of Thieves. So
Yep.
this is awesome that they keep up stuff like this. It keeps fans happy. I like to see more companies do stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that they've gotten away from. I mean, the controller thing is that, I mean, depending on who you ask, there are a lot of controllers available for the Xbox One, and in every shape, size, color, imagination. Obviously you can make your own if you want. So they're the masters of peripherals, right? But I mean, if you remember when Gears launched, when Gears 4 launched, there was a special edition custom. Well, I mean, it was a custom. It was a custom Gears Elite controller, which was $200. I have that. That's sitting right next to me. That thing is going for $800 on eBay right now. Would I buy another? Would I buy a Gears 5 Elite controller? Well, you bet your ass I would. Well, just like I'm going to buy this Gears controller when I get my hands on it. I'm going to buy that stand. I think it looks amazing together. I'm a fan, folks. I'm a fan. Yeah, sure, I run the show, but I'm a video game fan. And I love stuff like this. If you've seen shots of my collection of stuff, it's ridiculous how many things I have, and I would love to add this to it. But look, again, it's not the biggest topic in the world. If you weren't in the know, yes, there's some Gears merchandise coming in the form of a controller and possibly a custom console, which I think is amazing. But I want to move on to, again, the meat and potatoes of today's show. But before I do that, I have to thank Ricardo Willis with the outstanding and generous $2 super chat. He says, "What up, Booming Clowns? Yes, thanks so much, dude, for being here. We do greatly appreciate the support." Now, it's time, clowns, to discuss in full length the interview that had everyone talking. Phil Spencer sat down with Fortune magazine to discuss everything Xbox, but it's what he admits publicly that took social media by storm. The interview with Fortune magazine should, in my opinion, calm the fears of many Xbox players. Now, I want this up front. I happen to really love Phil Spencer as the vice president of gaming. I have full confidence in his passion, commitment, and beliefs in the brand, and the fact that he respects the millions and millions of Xbox supporters around the world. Now, the Fortune magazine interview not only was fantastic as a whole, but I want everyone to pay attention. If you're gonna listen to it, I have it listed in the show notes. It's 41 minutes. It's amazing. If you're an Xbox fan, you listen to it. If you're an Xbox hater, well, maybe you'll find some of it interesting. I don't know. But at the 29-minute mark, clowns, this is where Phil Spencer not only admits the failings of the brand this generation, but makes it clear that he is well aware of it. The first-party output has been the brand's Achilles heel, in my opinion. On the AAA game front, outside of Halo, Gears, and Forza, depending on who you ask, there's not much to talk about, and that's a problem. Now, before I continue with the rest of the article, I want to get your opinion on what he said, and do you think that it should calm people's fears that he publicly admits in this interview that there's a problem, but more specifically, he understands that there's a problem?
Yeah, I think, Phil sees the fans talk. I think he sees it on social media. I think he feels it probably in the offices too, because I'm sure there are a lot of Xbox fans that work for Xbox, and he's a fan of the platform himself. So I think he sees it and he acknowledges it. But to get to the point where we need to be now with all the studio acquisitions and stuff, we had to go through this. It was just part of the business. That's how it works.
Would you consider it growing pains?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Change of leadership, growing pains, convincing Satya to open up more into the gaming division. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, the one thing I'm going to say, and again, this is common sense to me, may not be common sense to others, but I'm going to say it anyway. In order to correct the problem, clowns, you have to first admit there is one. I think that is it should be commonplace in life, right? If you are a drinker, right, in order to get yourself help, you have to admit that you're an alcoholic, right? Same thing goes for being a drug addict. If you seriously want help, and you have to first admit there was a problem, and that goes across anything. It could be how you spend your money, cars you drive, the phones you use. It goes across life. So for him to say in this interview that he has heard the cries of the fans and he understands why people are disappointed, shouldn't that give people confidence that he's going to make changes? Like, you know, Colt Eastwood, who I'm a huge fan of, and he does not need my help because the guy has over 60,000 subs, well deserved. If you're not subscribed to Colt Eastwood, I say head over there, tell him Boom sent you. The guy's a gentleman. I had an opportunity to meet him at Xbox Fan Fest, sat right next to him during the Xbox event, which was amazing. And I really respect Colt. And last week or the week prior, you know, there was a lot of, you know, negative stuff going on Twitter. And he put out a tweet, and I'm paraphrasing, but this is what it was. He said, "I can understand people upset if Microsoft just said, okay, it didn't work, we're packing it and going home, and they just shut down the division. There would be room for people being pissed off all over the place because there are millions of people invested in this brand. But what Phil Spencer has done, and I don't think that gets the spotlight on what he's done gets overshadowed by the hate mongering of what he hasn't done. You know, he took this position over in 2017, and it was listen, I'm going to be vulgar here. It was a shitstorm. This is coming off of Terry Myerson, the human roadblock that did not allow anything to go past him. And this is coming off someone in Don Matrix who told people, well, if you don't want the Xbox One, I have a console for you. So you understand from 2013, from that horrendous E3 to 2017 when Phil took over, those are some down years for the Xbox. The grave was being digged as they were in there. Phil takes over in late 2017. Folks, this is a $1 trillion company. Microsoft is a $1 billion brand for Microsoft. It takes a lot of hands and some time to turn a ship around this big. And I think he's done that. And what he's going to do in the next generation, I think, is going to be super, super exciting for Xbox fans. And I seen someone in the chat saying that we're one of the few shows talking about the positive things that Phil Spencer said. And that's nice of you to say. I do greatly appreciate that because this is a positive base show. That's what I built this show on. Dealer was talking about it last night in RDX. If you missed that, head over there and check that out because that was a great show last night. But clowns, I did a video yesterday, and it was one of my biggest videos in 2019. Actually, it might have even been second video. It was almost 11 minutes. And like I said in the video yesterday, Phil understands where they went wrong, and he is going to course correct the issue. But it's funny that the Xbox gamers or the Xbox community wants better, right? He admits that he understands this. Okay, we all admit that we know Microsoft has not done everything. There were shortcomings. No one's denying that. No one's damage controlling. There's a problem. There was a problem, and now he's fixing it. Here's my question to you, clowns. What are your personal takeaways from this very candid interview by Fortune magazine? And do you personally still have confidence in Phil Spencer going forward?
I think, there's one important thing in this that you said is that Phil Spencer took over what in 2017. So the fact that we have all these studio acquisitions within 2 years, we have 40 unique game projects in the works within 2 years. He acknowledged the shortcomings of Xbox. I think we're on the right track, and I think Phil's the right leader. You think about what 2 year turnaround. This is pretty good. This is excellent for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, 24 months, clowns. I mean, that's something that I think honestly goes understated. You know, when you look at where they were to get where they are, there were a lot of shortcomings, a lot of failings, right? They had to. I mean, and this is coming off of the Xbox 360 era that saw some of the most aggressive marketing tactics I've ever seen, super top quality third party and second party exclusives. Okay. And a brand that, by all accounts, should have just limped off and died in the corner with the red ring of death. And they didn't. Right. What I mean, the 360 era, depending on who you ask, was one of the greatest, eras in gaming for the Xbox. And that should have transitioned over, you know what I'm saying, to, the Xbox One. And obviously, we're not going to rehash it. We know what has happened. So I mean, what are your takes on where they were, where they are, and how they fixed it?
Well, I think everything's on the right track. I don't really think there's a need to worry. A lot of the stuff that we've seen this generation was pre Phil Spencer. It just had to work
Yes, that's a
itself
great
out.
point. That's a
It,
great point.
I
Yeah.
mean, it was already in the pipeline. What could they do? It was already deals worked on, deals that were signed off on, releases that were coming out. Nothing he could have done. He just came in 2017, so he's kind of fresh to taking over this company and working it the way that it should be worked. And as a gamer, we have the right person in charge. And there's a lot of other things he said in that interview that were really positive, but that people are twisting out of proportion.
Well,
Like,
if you remember any of them, why don't you break that down?
yeah, I quoted some of the stuff he said. I wrote down some notes here. Like, for example, the whole negativity about xCloud, right? Well, he says in his interview, we've always thought about xCloud as a choice. We don't want you to stop playing on console. We like you playing on your console. Well, where are all these other people saying that he doesn't want you playing on your console? All these other people talking about, oh, yeah, the console's. No, it's not. The console's not dead. Xbox wants you to play in your console in your living room. They're happy that you have a console. He even goes on to say that we think about xCloud from a user standpoint. It enables you to play the games when you're not playing on the console. That's the key word, when you are not playing on the console. These devices are everywhere. We have Android phones, we have iPhones, we have, Android pads. That's a great way to expand the user base. It's just an option. The company's not going anywhere. The console's not going anywhere. That power, that beast in the console is not going anywhere except your living room or where you put your TV. It's still going to be there. These are all just options. And we are in an age where everything's being inclusive. And one thing Phil points out in the interview after that 29-minute mark that we talked about is that he specifically says, in reference to xCloud, we do talk about places like Africa, India, Southeast Asia, and places that a lot of our partners don't reach with our content today. We're building xCloud for the long run, but also reach customers who don't think about putting TVs and consoles in their living rooms, especially in those regions. So this is all positive stuff that should not be twisted into a negative form of fashion just for clickbait. This is all positive things that a company showing growth. I think this is all great stuff that Xbox is doing, that Phil Spencer's doing, that Microsoft's doing. It's just an expansion, an opportunity, more choices. Who can complain about that?
First of all, I have to respond. I want to thank you for that, because those quotes I did not have. So great on you that you brought that, and this is going to bring up another whole side to this particular topic. One of the complaints that you see, some people talk about is Microsoft's reach, right? Like in North America, they're only slightly behind the PlayStation 4, right? And that's a proven fact. But PlayStation is a worldwide brand, accepted in, of course, it's doing very well in Europe and it does very well in the Asian market. So they have these two massive markets. Now, granted, Xbox does decently or good, I would say, in Europe. That they used to be a lead market for them, and Sony came in and they did what they did, right? But all of these other smaller markets that they don't reach, they're going to be able to reach with xCloud. That's why each one of these data centers that are $1 billion with a B, each one of them in these regions, they're going to expand the brand to gamers who never heard of an Xbox or may never own an actual Xbox. But they'll go out and they'll sell these $100 to $150 little boxes that give gamers that never owned an Xbox the ability to play all of these games from wherever they want. Now, if they're going to sit in front of their couch where they don't have to have the $500 piece of hardware and all this, and I still think, if you remember, Brad Sams, good friend of the show. If you're not subscribed to him, head over to Brad Sams on YouTube. Check him out. He's another Xbox insider. He's been on the show, and he is making a return appearance very soon. He talked about the xCloud possibly launching clowns at a $60 price point and or with a controller at $75. Now, think about this for a second, folks. You turn around and you drop something that's a new piece of tech that's under $100, right? We're not talking Apple TV. We're not talking about the the Amazon Fire Stick. We're talking about a video game device that lets the said player have access to thousands of games the minute the thing launches. Now, you heard Phil Spencer when he talked about xCloud. They're going to have almost 4,000 games available at launch. Developers need to do nothing except be on there. No additional development. Unlike Google Stadia that's coming out, there's going to be some extra development process to get those games on there. That's development cost. That's not going to happen with the xCloud. So, clowns, think about that for a second. Not only are they going to be able to launch a new tech device, which everyone loves new tech for under $100, does all of this. It's going to probably have apps in there. You're going to probably get your YouTube app. You're probably going to have your Netflix app, your Hulu app, all the apps you can possibly imagine, and play a ton of video games. But they're going to take this new device, and they're going to move it into regions that they would never sell an Xbox Standard or a Project Scarlet, but they're going to sell these boxes, and they could possibly get millions and millions of new fans joining the Xbox brand, but also subscribing to Xbox Live, Xbox Game Pass. What you said is perfect. What are your thoughts on the possibility of all of these additional millions and millions of fans in other regions that Microsoft wants to be in?
I think when you said the like, I guess what you were referring to is like that rumor of the streaming Xbox, kind of the small little box. I think that's a fantastic idea. If they can, if what you said is true, if the price point is like 75 and that thing is more powerful than typical Android TV boxes, I think that's fantastic because it's small. Right? You're not carrying like a big system out of the store. If you live in a country maybe where you're worried about buying something in a store and getting mugged in the parking lot, you get the small little box that nobody's probably going to think of. Just go home and set it up. That's great. I mean, it's fantastic. It's just going to bring more people in to the Xbox franchise, the Xbox world. And maybe even if it's their only second choice of a console, the fact that it's still there and made it in their homes, they're now a customer. It's expanding. This is what Xbox and Microsoft wants to do.
Yes, Cake Batter, big fan of this, who's always in the chat, says Xbox is now a platform far beyond a console. Phil wants to sell games. He doesn't care if you buy a console. So that's his. That has implications for console gamers. Now, I agree with you. Okay, but as a console, listen. Let me just say this. If you're a console gamer, you're always going to be a console gamer. That's the end of the story. If you are a PC guy or gal, you're probably going to play these games on a PC. I don't see a problem with that. If you know, see that's the thing that kind of makes me kind of scratch my head a little bit, clowns. The fact that people harp on the fact that where they can play the game. What you know, what I'm saying, what, I see this. I see this a lot on social media, especially on Twitter. Like, you know, you talk about exclusives, and Sony does it really well, right? And we're not gonna beat that horse. We know what they've done, and they've sold million. I think they broke 100 million consoles. So that's a big deal for Sony. But when you look at software versus the console sold, it's not what you think, folks. You know, they're not selling 50 million copies of God of War. Now, they've sold a ridiculous amount, and the game deserves it because it's a masterpiece. But it's not like Nintendo, where a piece of software moves with the hardware. It's just not like that. Microsoft has an opportunity to sell more software, which, if you're new to gaming, FYI, software makes these companies money. I'm not sure if that's somewhere that got lost in translation, clowns. Console sales do not make money. It takes years to get there. Most of them break even. Some even are eating a little bit at the end, which is probably what's going to happen to both Sony and Microsoft with their next box. If you think that the PS5 is going to be $400, I got news for you. Start collecting cans and put that other 100 away. It's going to be $499. There's too much power going into that. Same thing with the Xbox Scarlet or Anaconda, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a $500 box, and it's going to be worth it because they're going to be doing PC level stuff at a $500, in my opinion, budgeted $500 price tag. And I'm buying both. If the Switch Pro comes out next year, I'm buying that too. So I support all three consoles. But getting back to xCloud and what Microsoft is looking to do with it, folks, it should. If you are an Xbox console player, you should not feel down or upset that Microsoft is letting other people play the game that didn't buy the console. You bought the console for your reason. You're going to buy a Scarlet for its power. That same power is not going to be seen in the streaming box, at least not now. We're years away from 4K streaming and playing a game. It's not going to happen. Now, if the cloud does all the heavy lifting, well, that's a horse of another color. But we don't know what they're going to do. I can tell you this. I played xCloud. I did videos. I talked about it numerous times, and it's freaking legit, folks. I played Halo 5 walking around with a controller and a phone, and I talked to one of the devs, and it looked freaking and played amazing. That's all I can say. Anything else you want to add to this, clowns?
Yeah, I just want to go back to what Cake Batter said. In here, he says he doesn't care if you buy a console, and that has implications for console gamers. Well, I don't think that's 100% true, and I think people are just flipping it out of proportion. See, if you go back to the interview, the quote is, "We don't want you to stop playing on a console. We like you playing on your console." That's a quote, right? So Phil doesn't want you to stop buying consoles if you like consoles. I mean, go ahead and buy it. I think what Phil is talking about is, like, he's saying that, in a sense, in some of these other interviews that people are twisting around, maybe it's more like Phil realizes that not everybody has the money to go out and buy a console. So he's offering other options. Play on PC, play on xCloud, play on your existing Android phone and such. These are options. He's not telling you not to buy a console. I think he's thinking if you can't afford one. And that leads me right into that quote where he talks about places like Africa, India, Southeast Asia, many places that are not as fortunate as some first world countries and the way that we can go out and buy things. So I think Phil's thinking about all these things, but he's not telling you not to buy a console.
That's a great point, clowns. That's a great point. Philly Eagle, who is always in the chat supporting multiple shows. I have to thank him for the outstanding and very generous, as the cops go by, $5 super chat. He says, I think it's the fire department all the time, man. All the time with this show. Listen, he says top 100 companies list Xbox brand is on that list. PlayStation is not. Nintendo is not. Now, who cares about sales? Let's worry about hashtag fun. Philly Eagle. My God, that's an amazing quote, and it's so true. That's a great that is a great quote, folks. You know, I don't know where where these ideologies come from. The Microsoft brand is profitable, and to be honest, you're not making money, so why the hell do you care? You should just care that it plays a game that you want to play. It looks good, runs great, and call it square. I don't know what else to say, clowns. I mean, again, this has been a great topic. I want to add one other one that I found at the last minute. This has made some news. I have to talk about it because again, it's one of those things that's it's just ridiculous. Now, the Outer Worlds is going to be an amazing game that comes out towards the end of the year. I cannot wait to play that game. It's going directly into Game Pass. That's dope. One less $60 game. I don't personally have to buy. And I say that because I'm paid up with Game Pass until the end of 2022. So I'm good. And obviously, Obsidian is a first-party game, but we know that this is also coming to the PlayStation 4, and that's fine. That's great. You know, more people are going to get a chance to play it. That's fantastic. At the end of the day, you know, Microsoft's going to make money on the back end of that. People, you know, Sony fans, if you're buying the game, you're probably giving money to Microsoft. What can I tell you? But it was announced yesterday in a surprising fashion that the Outer Worlds will be coming to the Nintendo Switch, clowns. Now, obviously, look, the Nintendo Switch version is going to be the lesser version of the Outer Worlds. It's not launching the same day as the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One version because it has to be ported. But this is pretty interesting. Now, the reason why I bring this up on an Xbox show is because of the unbelievable, ridiculous hate that this is getting because it's going to be available on the Nintendo Switch. And I say that why do you care? That is my point. Why do you personally give a flying shit where someone plays a game if you're enjoying it on your Xbox? Like it baffles me. Folks, the days of this closed walled garden are gone. Software sales make money for companies. I'm continuing on, you know, where we ended, clowns. In your opinion, do you think it's ridiculous people are complaining that it's going to be on the Switch?
Yeah, I do. I think it's crazy. I mean, it's like people are saying, "Hey, we're the toxic defense force, and nothing could pass us. It's got to be on our console only because that's where we play our games, and we like Xbox, so it has to be on an Xbox console." I mean, that's completely wrong thinking and a negative aspect. Let people enjoy it wherever they want to enjoy it. And if a company goes ahead and decides to put it on another console or some other platform, that's their business. That's the company's business. That's their money. They paid to make the game, right? They paid to develop it. We as fans, we didn't put our money into this big company and pour millions into investment funding in development for 8 years, 9 years, 4 years, whatever it was. Sure, we like the game. We buy it when it comes out, but if the company wants to put it somewhere else, let them. It's no big deal to us, and it just brings more revenue for the company so they can make sequels and other stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, I'm not going to beat this particular topic to death because, you know, again, I just wanted to talk about it because one, it's an Obsidian game. Obsidian is a first party, and if it's a first party, it means Microsoft owns it, which means that Microsoft. Every software sale, like for the PlayStation 4, oh, by the way, and for the Switch, means more money in Microsoft's pocket, which means they can turn that around, and more money means more investment into their own first-party studios. I mean, again, I'm not a business tycoon. I don't have a business degree, but that kind of makes sense to me. Maybe I'm wrong. But, you know, I had a topic. You know, I wasn't sure how long things were going to play out. I thought this was going to be a longer show. I thought it was going to be almost 2 hours. We're going to hit the 1:30 mark very soon, and I want to close it out with this. You know, when you talk about the studios for Microsoft, right now they have 15 clowns. Now, there have been rumors that Upsobo is it could possibly be purchased. We've heard IO Interactive. We've heard Relic Entertainment. One of my personal wants, Crytek. I want Crytek for their technology, but I also want Crytek because I want a Rise Son of Rome 2, and I also want a reboot of the Crisis series. Making those exclusives would be ridiculous. There was a rumor that popped up yesterday of a Japanese studio called White Owl, who I believe made the D4 series. And there has been rumors, and Phil Spencer has talked about their reach in the Asian market, more specifically Japan. Clowns. Now, if you don't know, if you don't follow if your ear's not to the floor, the Tokyo Game Show is coming up. It's that region's big show. It's after Gamescom in August. I believe it's in mid-September. Now, there are rumors that have been circling, and I want to talk about those rumors. Microsoft has talked about starting or getting or buying a Japanese company there. What are your takes on that, Clowns? Do you want to see them get a Japanese studio?
I do. I would love to see Microsoft go ahead and Xbox get a Japanese studio. I think it would bring some great ideas into what we're accustomed to. Maybe some JRPGs, maybe some Japanese or Asian game mechanics. I think it's a great idea. The one thing I just wish, though, like I don't know much about the studio that you mentioned, Boom, but I would really hope that it would be something like Atlas or something established like Atlas.
That makes sense. Let me just say this. What I have heard, what I have seen floating around the interwebs, if you will, is that they're not going to buy a studio. What they're going to do, and again, take this with a grain of salt. I'm not confirming anything. I'm saying what I've seen, what I believe. This is my personal opinion on the matter. What I believe is going to happen is Microsoft is going to create a studio from scratch, the same way they did the Initiative. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a quadruple A. What I'm saying is that they're going to talent pool the big wigs from around the Asian market, more specifically Japan, and create a studio from scratch, and I think this is the way they should go, and have that studio make JRPG type games, not only for that region, but have that as a part of the Xbox family, something that many people within this chat, many people in this community enjoy those type of games. I happen to be one of them. I love a great story-driven, deep JRPG. I do. And I would be on board to buy and play that game. Now, obviously, if it's a first party, it's going to go right into Game Pass, so I don't have to purchase it. But I would play the hell out of that. Clowns, do you think starting a studio from scratch, bringing in the talent that we've seen come to the Initiative in the form of the Japanese side of talent, meaning that getting people that worked on Blue Dragon, Lost Odyssey, some of those bigger JRPGs from the 360 era, would you like to see that?
I mean, that's actually not a bad idea because those games were very popular on Xbox 360. So that's a pretty smart move. If Microsoft was able to secure a deal like that, getting some of those devs over, amazing stuff right there. That studio would be fire for Xbox.
Yeah, Thanaros, another fan of the show. Thanks for being here, dude. He says Mistwalker. Yes, Mistwalker. I don't know if are they still in business? I don't know. I haven't heard from them in a while. But getting some talent from Mistwalker, especially the lead dev on that, would be a big deal. I know that Phil Spencer recently took a picture of him with him while he was doing one of his Japan tours. I don't know what that means, other than he took a picture, someone posted it and said, "Okay, what do you think?" It could be nothing, it could be something, but the Tokyo Game Show is a big show, Clowns, and how effing amazing would it be for them? And I'm pretty sure they're attending, so they wouldn't attend if they didn't feel like they had a reach there. Wouldn't it be pretty damn impressive to go to the Tokyo Game Show Phil to get over there and then get on stage and announce a new studio right then and there.
Yeah, I mean, that would get so much excitement going. That would be huge.
That would excite the fan base. Again, folks, this is completely a shot in the dark, grain of salt, kind of a, I guess you can call it a lucky star wish that I would like to see them do. Personally, I would love to see them buy Team Ninja. That's just me. I'd like to see a new Ninja Gaiden. I think Ninja Gaiden, the difficulty curve that it was back then, is what you find today in the Souls games. Team Ninja just did Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. They've done, obviously, Neo on the PlayStation 4. If you've never played that, that's a freaking amazing game. Hard as balls, but it's an amazing game. And Neo 2 is in development. I would really, really like for them to buy, if they're going to buy one, if they're not going to create one, if you're going to buy one, get Team Ninja. What are your thoughts on that, clowns?
I mean, Team Ninja has a lot going for it. And I think that as of right now, with all the popularity behind that studio, that would be an extremely smart move. For me personally, Boom, I would like something like on Atlas's level. That's the kind of JRPGs I love.
Okay.
So that's just my personal opinion. But I think that if they were to acquire Team Ninja, I think that a lot of fans in today's generation would be extremely happy about that. Looking at some of their title releases, I mean, there's some big stuff in their library.
That's true. Other Zinc says no Itagaki for Team Ninja. Now we know obviously he left there. He's not there. And I hear you. I mean, again, he was the studio head. He was the brains, I guess you can say, behind the DOA series, behind Ninja Gaiden when it was released. And he was amazing. I will say this, Others Inc. If, in fact, they do create a studio from scratch, wouldn't it be dope to get him on? Because I think the guy's a genius. And I think he's a high-level developer, and he could do great things working for Microsoft under a studio that was a first party. Look, I don't know what's going to happen. All I can tell you is that, clowns, this show has been unbelievably on fire from start to finish. We got every topic in. I added 2 additional ones that I didn't have on the list for a total of almost 10 topics today, which is great. Listen, folks, I want to say this. We have almost 120 people watching. That's an amazing number, okay? And it's amazing because it's a show that's during the day. And I want to thank the chat for once again being as amazing as you are. Most of you are just gamers that want to talk back and forth, but I also have to thank the moderators, the Indie Gamer, of course, Lethal Papa. Daz, if you're in there, brother, I didn't see you, but these are the 3 main modders that I have. Salty was in there. He's a modder as well. Listen, they're there for a reason. They normally don't bother anybody. This is the friendliest chat on YouTube. I've been told that numerous times, and I definitely appreciate that. I also want to thank the generosity of the super chats. You think that, you put $2 in there, it's not that big of a deal. Yes, every dollar is a big deal to me because you don't have to do it, and your generosity shines through. I want to thank you for that. Clowns, I could not do this show without you because obviously for the last 6 weeks, my normal co-host in the Welsh Gamer has been on family hiatus, so to speak. He's taking care of things that I am not going to talk about on the air, but his family comes first. We all know that. He is supposed to make his triumphant return next Thursday. And if you're wondering, well, why it's going to be Thursday, Thursday has always been the Xbox Factor podcast. It just so happens that Clowns could not have made it tomorrow, so I bumped the show up to today, and I hope everybody enjoyed this. Chris Hughes Sr. with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says a fantastic show with lots of flames, eyes, poking, and 100. Dude, thank you so much for that. It is very generous of you, and I love the fact that you've enjoyed it because that's what we strive for. We want to make sure that when you are listening to this, see, that's the thing that I think it gets lost a little bit with content creation in 2019. People take for granted that gamers are going to show up to listen to your show. And that is why I'm up past midnight 3 days a week writing, because I take nothing for granted. The fact that I even have 2 people subscribed, let alone I broke 2,700 yesterday, is amazing to me. It's still the most humbling thing. Some of the comments I've gotten is just unbelievable. It gives me goosebumps talking about it. You are going to get the quality that you would expect. And the reason why these shows are produced the way they are is because I produce it from a fan's perspective. What I want to hear, what excites me when I listen to other people's shows, that's what you're going to get. And I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. Clowns, please tell everyone where they can check you out on Twitter, watch your stuff, and check out your YouTube, because your Four Guys with Quarters is amazing.
Thanks, Will. I appreciate it. All of us at Four Guys Recorders put a lot of hard work in. So huge shout out to everybody on the panel, as well as Inferno, who started the whole thing the way he did. So it's really cool, fun team to be on. Every Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern. The last 2 weeks we took a hiatus. Assassin built his desk, so that's pretty exciting. And I want to give a shout out to Assassin as well. He really started streaming on Twitch.tv. And he's he's a small streamer, but it'd be really awesome. People check him out every now and then. Twitch.tv/ZPCI Assassin.
That's good. Yeah, you know what? Listen, dude. When you say small, everyone to build a house, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta put a brick down, right? So we all start out small, and then depending on what your work, my personal work ethic is, if anyone that's in the chat that's been on my show understands that my show notes are 4,000 words per show. That's no BS, folks. That is all a written stuff. I don't mess around. And to see that Invader, I'm going to say Invader. Oh my God, he was on last week. Assassin is doing well. That's great to hear, because I love to hear these stories of the smaller guy winning. And that's what I really like about your stuff, Clowns, because you started small, you built your brand. I think it's fantastic. I love the people you work with, and I want to see more people subscribe.
Thanks, man. We appreciate that, man. We all try to keep it positive, to the news, informative. We like to get straight to the point.
Well, listen, you guys do. You're always very entertaining, and just tell everyone where they can follow you on YouTube.
YouTube.com/4guyswithquarters, all one word, and it has the number 4 in it.
Okay, excellent. Well, listen, Clowns, once again, thank you so much for being here. We have hit the 90-minute mark. This has been an epic show from start to finish. I want to thank everyone once again for tuning in. Do me a favor. I do ask this. If you enjoyed the show, please hit the like button. It's just press it once. It's not going to hurt, I promise. If you didn't like it, I highly encourage you to hit me up in the chat and tell me why, and hit that thumbs down button, because guess what? I can't make you like the show. But I am going to ask one other thing. If you're a fan of Double Barrel Gaming, if you're a fan of the Xbox Factor podcast, and you want to promote this positivity, please do me a favor and post this on social media with the link, so other people and other gamers like yourself who want something, I guess, a fresh take on the negativity that this unfortunate community can sometimes bring. Please do that. I greatly appreciate it. And I will see everyone tomorrow. And I say tomorrow because it's not Thursday. I'll see everyone Friday morning on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom. Take care, everyone. Have an awesome day.